One of the things I love about knowing common mistakes for anything is that it's like a cheat code. If you know how people usually go wrong and you can avoid those ways, the common ways that people go wrong, then you're just halfway there already. You don't even really know how to do it right. If you can just not do the wrong things, then it just makes it so much easier to do the right things. I'm Alan Matthews from Classical Guitar Shed, and in my many years as a classical guitar teacher, I've seen a lot of people make the same mistakes over and over. And so I would like to share some of these with you today so that you can avoid these same mistakes and make your playing just that much better. So if you do it, then you can just notice that you do it, and then you can just stop doing it. And if you'd like to look down below in the description, you'll find the link to a book on classical guitar ergonomics. It's a free download. It's a short PDF with many ways that you can play more comfortably, use your body better as you're playing the guitar, because that way you won't be working against yourself. You'll actually be setting yourself up for easier playing, more comfortable playing, more fluid playing, getting to the next note on time or faster. So if you'd like to, go click below and find that book and use it. So with that, let's dive into this compilation of common mistakes people make playing the guitar. Here is a mistake I see a lot of guitarists making, and that is to have the neck pointing down. If you point the neck down, it really limits the amount of movement you can use in your wrist and your fingers and everything else. If you point it up even a little bit, I'm a classical guitarist, so I really elevate it up to where the tuning key is about at eye level here. But even just a little bit of this helps. You can stretch more. Your wrist is at this really nice, flat, strong center area, so you don't want it like this. And instead, you can really get a lot of stretch, get a lot of power, and it makes everything much easier to play. When you go down, what happens is you get these extreme angles like this, and over time, it's a lot of wear and tear. And so instead of doing that, then you can avoid the carpal tunnel syndrome and the repetitive stress injury, and instead get that neck up and play more fluidly. A common mistake that people make in their playing is not warming up. So instead of doing something slow at first, or actually warming up the fingers, doing a little stretch, maybe roll some shoulders, do a forward bend or two, get some blood flowing through the fingers, get the ligaments and the tendons and all that connective tissue loosened up a little bit, the muscles with some blood. Instead of that, they just dive right in and play really fast. And it's a really great way to hurt yourself and make your knuckles inflamed and hurting. And over time, it can lead to really serious injury. But instead of that, just taking a couple minutes, it also feels really good to stretch just a little bit, take your time, 3 minutes. It'll seem like forever as you're doing it, but it's just luxurious. And it will save your hands over time. Here's a common mistake we see. Members of our program send in videos and can get a review back anytime. And so this is one of the things that we comment on frequently. If you video yourself or even look in a mirror and you can see your left palm, then your left hand position is not great. And so that happens when you're doing something like this and your pinky's too far out. That means it can't get to where you're wanting to go. You're probably gluing this part of your finger onto the side of the guitar, something like this. So look in a mirror, or look in a reflection of a dark window or a video and see, can you see your left palm? If you can, well then get it back out of the way. Hide it. You should be seeing the back of your hand. Here's a common right hand form and position mistake. I see a lot of this, especially with beginners, and that is putting the right wrist too low. So if the right wrist is too low, if it's down by the guitar, what happens is the only way to play the string is to pull up on it. And that makes a very thin, brittle little sound. It's not great. It adds a lot of tension. It reduces the amount of speed and clarity and fluidity that we can use in our hands. And so instead of doing this, get the wrist up, get some space in there so that you can play from the big knuckle, push down through the strings, and that's going to be much better going forward. So notice when your wrist is down and then just let it drift right back on up. Here's a common right hand mistake that you can become aware of and avoid, and that is bouncing. This is really common. So if you're playing something, then you can see this right hand bouncing up and down like this. And you can look in a mirror, you can video yourself to see if you're doing this. But you want to not do this, because what it does is you bounce and then your fingers aren't near the strings. And so this is going to limit your speed and also your preparation for the next thing. And you'll make more mistakes because you have to then come through the air and get to things. Instead, what you can do is make sure you have a little bit of space there, get your spot, and then stay there so that you practice moving from the big knuckle, moving the fingers and pushing through the strings. And then that way, no bounce, and you can get right to the string. So notice it. If you do see yourself doing it, exaggerate it by doing this a few times, and then avoid it going forward. Here's a right hand mistake I see a lot of people making, and that is that when you play the thumb, if it goes behind the fingers, that is a mistake, because if the finger then plays, then you're trapping the thumb back there. So instead, let the thumb just come and touch the side of the index finger, and it can just brush against that or just lightly touch and then bounce off. So keep the thumb out from behind the fingers, and that'll give you more space to move. A lot of beginners like to brace the little finger, and this is also really popular in other styles of guitar, like fingerstyle, Tommy Emmanuel, and folks like this. However, it really limits the amount of motion that you can have in your right hand. It creates a lot of tension, and it actually reduces how well you play. So it's much better to not brace and let your fingers float. Instead, if you need to touch with another string, you can find a point of stability there, but you're gonna sound better and you're gonna play better if you don't brace that pinky and if you get out of the habit of bracing the pinky. And I know famous people do it, but that doesn't make it the best way for you to do it and for any of us to do it. And so in classical guitar, we don't brace the pinky. And the reason is that we can do so much more when we don't. Here's a sitting position tip for you for the classical guitar. Assuming that your feet are both on the ground, assuming that you're sitting in a nice chair and that your neck is elevated, your guitar neck is elevated so that you can sit up. One of the things to look for is your head balanced on top of your spine? Oftentimes it can bow forward, there can be a crane in it, there can be a lean going like this, something like that. So if you can know that your head is actually balanced up there in your spine so that your back can release out into length along the back of your back, then that's going to be a great start to your sitting position. All right, well, I hope that you found something useful in there, maybe something that you saw that you might be doing that you can stop doing. And then what a boon for you to be able to relieve that mistake and open up the floodgates for more fluid playing for yourself. If you'd like to look down below in the description, you'll find a link to a book on classical guitar ergonomics. It's tips on how to use your body better when you're practicing the guitar. Also full of things to avoid there as well. And if you get that, then hopefully you'll play more comfortably, avoid injury, and generally enjoy your practice that much more. Have a lovely day and all the best in your music. Bye-bye.